Hi, this is Mark Pubate. Well, it's been 65 million years since my last video on YouTube. Apple's lackluster sales of the HomePod capture only 6% of the global smart speaker market. During the last WWDC, they mentioned about this piece of shit only once. Let me share with you a story of the so-called iPod Hi-Fi. Did you ever have one of those? The iPod Hi-Fi. The one that we had to remove the soft grills manually for clearer sound. The sound was so muddy at the time. Nevertheless, I saw them, I think in 2006. I saw them like hotcakes because at the time Apple promised 500 Thai baht per unit. A piece of the iPod Hi-Fi sold. So who cares? No built-in rechargeable battery since, but I did appreciate the external batteries compartment on the back of the iPod Hi-Fi. I do have a story to share with you. Tim Cook had proposed the idea of Apple's proprietary smartwatch and speaker to Steve Jobs on numerous occasions. Now, you know what? Steve Jobs has opposed of Tim Cook's proposal repeatedly, and that only prompted Tim's to start to spread derogatories like erroneous or scurrilous rumors about Steve's incompetence. Like, well, there are tons of things that I'm not at liberty to share. Like, you think Scott Forstall resigned because he wanted to resign on his own accord? No. The guy was fired. Like, well, you're a CEO of a damn company. Well, I kind of like you. I hate that you got so much. Get the fuck out of my face. Well, Tim Cook is not a visionary. The guy is a gay man who went on to become a CEO. He had been working as an office clerk at Compaq. His nature is an office clerk. He's not, he never came close, of course, to the word visionary. Unlike Steve Jobs, like Nikola Tesla, or Thomas Edison. The guy was merely a shit bag fully loaded with jealousy. It's like the character Shock in Better Call Saul. He tarnished, smeared, using what we call today PR to destroy, to undermine Nikola Tesla's reputation at the time. The thing is, you may wonder, I knew about Theranos' story, but at least, I strongly believe that Elizabeth Holmes and also Nikola Tesla, they have one thing in common. The common denominator between them, first, I think they're visionaries in their own worlds. Well, Nikola Tesla did a pretty good job with that AC shit, but then he was dreaming about contributing the electricity using that mushroom shape antennas to contribute the electricity to American people for free. What about Theranos? I strongly believe that Elizabeth Holmes did things with, extremely good intention. I do believe her because during her tenure as the CEO of Theranos, she never sold one share of Theranos. Unlike Tim Cook, last year Tim Cook sold $3 million worth of Apple stocks. Then how do you call yourself someone who sacrificed devote. The latest WWDC. Tim Cook stared at those monitors in front of the stage numerous times, like he talked like, let's talk about what the fuck. Everything should have been loaded, fully loaded in your orbital cortex, in your brain, your veins. Your eyes, veins rupture because of the knowledge, the passion, the penchant in you. You're the fucking CEO. You don't have to stare at shit. Steve Jobs never did. Apple could have made Siri on the HomePod smarter by increasing the size of her brain, by adding more mundane or general knowledge repository to Siri database. They could, but they wouldn't, because they had shifted their focuses to other areas like autonomous vehicle, VR headsets, TV shows. Apple has spent that's for around $4 billion for its TV show project. We had to wait for stereo pairing. Apple promised that it would allow us to do so through the forthcoming software update later this year. Why not now? We had to wait for a waterproof Apple Watch that can make regular phone call, Siri on Mac, 9.7-inch iPad that supports like Apple Pencil. Why not now? It's kind of like, well, they release a piece of shit, an unfinished product, a prototype, or a half viable product, and over time try to make it invaluable or indispensable over time. Like adding new abilities to the Apple Watch. Now you can use the Apple Watch as a walkie-talkie, and next year you can use it as pregnancy tester. If I were in Tim Cook's shoes, I would have added first voice recognition feature. Voice recognition feature. Well, the thing is, there's a huge difference, not an underlying discrepancy, but a huge difference between verbal-based command recognition and voice recognition for individual user for security purposes. For instance, only me can command Siri to do things I want to do. This is very important. Anyone with access to the HomePod can use Siri to send messages pretending to be you, can impersonate you. Like for instance, one of your best friends might, command Siri to send messages to your wife, your girlfriend, that, well, as we speak, your husband, your boyfriend is banging your best friend, therefore, well, you should bang with me. Voice recognition for multiple accounts. Voice recognition for security purposes. Voice recognition for multiple account support. Probably multiple account support might be way ahead of its time. There's no multiple timer support, let alone multiple account support. For like Apple Music, it doesn't support Spotify. The thing is, it plays music natively from Apple Music. I know there are numbers of ways to like circumvent shit. Play it on you figure it out. I would have added headphones, just regular headphone socket, motherfucker. Just headphone socket, headphone jack, motherfucker. And just Bluetooth connectivity. You know what, when the CEO of Samsung was asked, he got asked about why the latest Galaxy has the dated headphone jack. The guy said, well, we listen to our customers. They still want it. It is not me to determine what should be dished. Well, they still want it. The customers wanted the headphone jack. Ask them what they want. You know what? The capital price of the HomePod, of 1 unit of the HomePod, is absolutely nothing. It's mighty cheap. I think $150 per unit tops. Why? Because the HomePod, it was made of technological blocks that are pretty much accessible by everyone. One of Apple's engineers didn't discovers a trunk, and inside he found a Moleskine notebook belonged to Da Vinci. You might say, well, there was no Moleskine, and well, who gives a fuck? Have you heard about the time traveler? Inside, wow, this is a mysterious technology to enhance the sound quality contributed by extraterrestrial. He was abducted. Da Vinci was abducted for 2 years. The price of the HomePod, $349. As we speak, Best Buy has decided to reduce the price by $50, but I'm not quite sure if you're watching this video when. But as we speak, $349 is absolutely nothing, next to nothing, with my aforementioned features. Apple's original plan was to release the HomePod without Siri. Tim Cook was so embarrassed to put the Apple logo, his damn company, underneath that piece of shit. The HomePod was mentioned only once during the latest WWDC. Only once it was mentioned. Why? You know what? The design of the HomePod, well, it doesn't stand out if you're not a nerd, a geek, but try not to be a gawk. Albeit, well, sometimes, you have been out of the loop for a while, albeit you have been an Apple so-called aficionados. You may not know it's a new Apple's proprietary speaker since, well, the design doesn't stand out. You know what? I'd like to share with you the story then, when I first caught sight of the HomePod, catch a glimpse, the first thing that popped up in my mind, actually my mind, not my mind, in my orbital cortex, in my OCD brain, saying I'm schizophrenia. The thing is, the first image popping, manifested, emerged, crossed my mind was one of those. You know what? One of those containment buildings at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. You know what? The things that I appreciate the most about the HomePod is at least Siri. She doesn't regularly laugh. Well, I knew that, but I like to call her she, motherfucker. Albeit we can switch to male voice on the HomePod. I don't know why. I'd like to remember her this way. Probably, well, she gave me a blowjob a long time ago. I think I'd like to have a blowjob today.
I will give you a blowjob. Please take off your pants.
Did you know that at least Siri, she doesn't laugh at her owner? Unlike Alexa, Did you know that over the past 3 years, more than 700 ambulances have been called to one of Amazon's proprietary factories in UK? What the fuck? Something happened there, a massacre, a tragedy? You know what I've been thinking one thing. If the working condition at one of the Amazon's like warehouse worldwide so like, you know, tormented, you just get the fuck out of there and find another job, you know. There is no use to keep complaining about shit. You know what, I have read shits. Those writers, they call themselves tech writers, like, well, where's Siri? Motherfucker! You know what, Siri is not a voice assistant. Some wrote, Siri can be correct 70% of the time, 70%. Well, Siri can correctly answer your queries 70% of the time. Siri is not a voice assistant. Let Professor Mark Pubate from the University of Mars define or determine the definition, the core fundamental of how to be Siri to you. Siri is merely an intellectually retarded, anthropomorphized assistant with impaired hearing. Hey, how you doing, brother? There you go. Hey, what's up, brother? Yeah. How you doing, Jim? I'm Donald. You remember me? Hey, what's up, Ken, you fucker? You know what? Siri on the HomePod, I did my research thoroughly. She can respond to your whatever query, request, whatever command, use the word you like, precisely, accurately, only 53% of the time. Let me be more accurate. 53.2% of the time. On one of, what the fuck, man? Well, in a flash, what did you do with your $200 billion unpaid taxes offshore? What did you do with the money? You're making a smart speaker, motherfucker. Well, Siri should be the tentpole feature of the HomePod, but her intelligence is at the bottom of the totem pole compared to, you know, Alexa's, Google Assistants, you know, like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? It's at the bottom. The thing is, Siri, some mundane or general knowledge repository, lags behind her competitors. Lags behind. And I mentioned about impaired hearing because, well, you know what, most of my clients, I never call my customers customers. I call them my clients because I had to work like a lawyer. I had to fight for them. We're gonna pick up the phone and talk to Apple Singapore and negotiate with them in order to, if my customers can exchange a screen, you know, with image retention issue, whatever, the IMAX screen with, you know, the dust underneath, whatever. So I have been working like, well, sometimes like a lawyer for them. Objection, Your Honor, overrule. Objection, Your Honor, speculation, hearsay, sustain. The court is adjourned. So, your first priority, motherfucker, you have to enlarge, add more mundane general knowledge to Siri's repository then? Well, because the problem is her knowledge repository lags behind her competitors. Siri isn't up to standards set by her rivals. You get what I mean? And you know, most of my clients said, well, Mark, I had to listen to like numerous amounts of snippets of random songs in order to get the songs I want, probably after multiple attempts or after like 5 goes. You eventually get what you want by gum after multiple attempts or several goes. So, I'm going to wrap this up before I go. Let me cut to the chase. Oh, I got a severe headache. I got, well, by the way, several months ago I had an accident. I had a huge laceration right here due to my bike accident. There is no helmet as a good helmet. Okay, let me recap things for you. Number one, you have to have a modern version of iOS devices running iOS 11.2.5 in order to get the HomePod to work. I'll show you something. This is the first generation iPad. It was the top of the line, the state of the art, the cutting edge, the best on the range at the time. This is the iPad, the first generation iPad, 64 gigabyte with cellular. The most expensive, and now is a paperweight. It's a piece of shit. I've been trying to, you know what, I do have my fan page. I do contribute like free for limited time, free app links to my friends on YouTube and on Facebook. And I've been trying to find the best PDF reader on this one, and it doesn't even support good reader. You know, like you said, well, the game, like the dark room, so minimalistic, doesn't support on this one. It's not compatible with this. What the fuck? Is this a graphic intensive shit? It requires front facing motherfucking camera? What the fuck? Why don't you just tell me, you know, directly? Like, you have to be blunt to customer. You a fucking piece of shit. You know what? You are no user. Get the fuck outside. We're gonna talk to you properly. You be a guest again. You know what? You be welcome to our ecosystem again. You buy our modern devices. Let me talk about the sound quality, or what I call subjective matters. Or there was a funny story. I used to work at a speaker salesman at one of the Apple's authorized resellers in Thailand in 2007, I think, at the time. You know, a lot of customers came into the store with someone they thought, well, might be a good advisor, like those nerdy looking, you know, hi-fi shit, you know, and like many times that at the end of the demo, I'll give you the scenario, well, role play. Well, what do you think about this one? Should I buy the Bose Sound Dog ones, or the JBL Radio, or the iPod Hi-Fi? And the guy always saying like, well, it's kind of it's kind of, you know, it's kind of you know, it depends on you. I came here because I need a free Starbucks coffee from you. Well, what's the fuck, man? What's the fuck? I'll give you another scenario. You have recently purchased the Samsung Galaxy, for instance, the Samsung Galaxy S9, because you wanted, you know, the best screen on the market. Probably you kind of like it, or you kind of like the camera on the back of the Google Pixel or whatever. And then you you went to an adjacent Apple store and you purchased the HomePod. Tomorrow, the day after the original purchase date, you have to figure it out whether it's to return the HomePod or return the Android phone. No further explanation. You figure it out. Well, with Android phones, the HomePod is a piece of trash, is a piece of garbage. I know there's a way to like circumvent or to get it to work. There's a way. But it wasn't supposed or meant to be used with Android phones. So, well, with all due respect, those Android users in the world, Apple doesn't give a fuck about you. Before we even go deeper, bore you with the details about you're gonna need that. It's not compatible with Android, and you can't even get it to work. You can't get it to work without an iOS device running a modern version of iOS. It ain't gonna work. Can't do shit. You can't set it up with your Mac. What the fuck? You recently purchased the top-of-the-line MacBook Pro with Retina display, the CDO, the custom to order shit. Fuck, you can't use this piece of shit to set it up, motherfucker. And you know what? If you've been keeping up with our video, I have reiterated, millions of times to try not to buy anything first gen. Don't buy the first generation of the Apple Watch. Don't buy the first generation of the MacBook Air with iPod Classic 1.8-inch rotational conventional drive with spinning platter inside. Don't buy the first generation of the MacBook Pro with Retina display because at the time, well, Apple was so confused with whether to use the LG shit or Samsung shit. We had to punch in terminal command line. Holy shit. I don't want to get the LG one. I don't want to get that image persistent. Image retention. Your Honor, the condition is not consistent with the command line. Objection, Your Honor. It sucks. Many tech writers wrote you'll be locked down to Apple ecosystem, environment, platform. Fuck you. You remember that lady? Who was trying to present the new Apple TV software, the Dolby Atmos, and what did she say? I don't remember her name because I didn't care. They filmed the one with, tiny natural boobs. She said, wow, man, what she said? Third party, Dolby Atmos soundbar, motherfucker. What's with the Apple way? Where's the word integration among, several Apple devices? They are a counterpart to one another. What the fuck? You have released the HomePod 4 months ago. What now, motherfucker? And you're saying third party, sound bar, Dolby Atmos, enable, sound bar? Are you kidding me? You won't be locked up to, I think it's even worse than that. If you buy it, you'll be held hostage. To give you the picture. You know what? It doesn't support Spotify. Some of my clients, they find this a deal killer for them. Again, it played natively Apple Music. Okay, from your subscription, but you don't have to be a subscriber. You can play things from your iTunes library too. No multiple user support, let alone that, because it doesn't even support multiple timers. But I strongly believe that in the not too distant future, you can do all these shits through their forthcoming software updates. But as I said earlier, why not now, motherfucker? Why do we have to? Well, Apple is accumulating everything We are their lab rats, early adopter, guinea pigs. Choose the phrase you like. But the things I hate the most is, well, firstly, of course, way too expensive, and it doesn't allow. I mean, for now, still repairing, we have to wait. Well, by gum, we can through its forthcoming software update, and try not to put the HomePod on top of any wooden desk like this, because it's gonna leave like what I call the white ring marks on it. I gotta go. For some of you that might think, well, Mark, this is just a belated review or something. It's too late. No. A low price HomePod is coming, and Tim Cook is trying to figure out if we should, well, just put Beats brand on it, because they just had to spend like $3 billion, which what they'll, or it should be under like Apple brand, whatever. I don't give a fuck, and I don't buy it, and you won't buy it after you watch my video. So thanks. The thing is, many people ask me, Mark. They have been asking me, Mark. Well, my English sucks. I never went to college. I've never been outside this country. I never went to one of those, you know, language schools that charge, you know, extortionate or exorbitant price in Thailand. I don't know. Probably well, I've been possessed by George Washington. How come I can speak English? I don't know. And probably I was possessed by Martin Luther King's "I have a dream for a better HomePod." So, and many people, well, they have been requesting a video about the iMac Pro. Well, it wasn't worth it. You know, it doesn't have that. Well, I'll give you a teaser if I might do it. It doesn't have that RAM hatch on the back. It doesn't, because they wanted to, you know, enhance the design and shit. But Apple's engineer team did a very poor job, because they need more room for bigger ventilation system, and you know, and trying. If you really like, remember the movie Creed, like, well, you know. Rocky decided to, okay, I'll give you some tips. Okay, I'll give you some little piece of advice now. You want to buy the iMac Pro, try not to buy it from the Apple store. You have to figure it out. You have to order it online. You have to know. You have got to know the difference between, first, what is the graphic intensive tab? What is the processor intensive, RAM intensive? Why do we need more RAM? And why do we need, like, you know, state-of-the-art, a cutting-edge graphic card or something? Gonna have to know about this. But I'll figure. I'll give some thought, okay? And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and I'll go feed my kitties. My cats go lift some weight, and I'm running to be the Prime Minister of Thailand, because if Donald Trump could. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to do seated dumbbell curl. Firstly, you're going to need to lock your elbow right here. Tuck your elbow. And you breathe in and you breathe out. Like this. Well, there is one. The critical tool for a seated dumbbell curl is the Apple Watch. You're going to need the Apple Watch. Well, to make possible use, you need to make the best possible use of your supplement, you're going to need the Apple Watch. Where's my Apple Watch? Because my Apple Watch is not with me, it's at one of the Apple's authorized service providers in Thailand. Why? Because, well, I was one of those victims. Have you ever heard about the screen pop-out issue? The vast majority of Apple Watch owners throughout the world are experiencing their panel, well, spontaneously detached from their watches automatically. Well, don't blame the battery. Don't blame the battery. It's not about the bloated battery. Well, sometimes, but in most cases, it's about the watch. Apple is being complained about unlawful acts and practices. For me, I'll better stick with this, the Cuckoo Smart Bluetooth watch. I strongly recommend one of these. JBL, the Flip Siri. The sound quality is superb. I mean, well, if you turn your back on it, you can't distinguish between a small speaker or a big speaker. So that's the bottom line, because Mark Pubate said so. And by the way, the critical flaw, the ultimate drawback or shortcomings of the HomePod is, you know what? It's because the thing is the HomePod doesn't have the Thunderbolt port. The HomePod doesn't have the Thunderbolt port. It doesn't have the Thunderbolt port. That means tell you something, brother.